Alright, so in this little video I just wanted to talk about this little guy right here, and it's the Game Boy, of course. And there's been a million videos done about all of the cultural impact that it had, how it revolutionized the gaming industry, how it became one of the best-selling consoles ever, and I'm not gonna talk about those things in this video. Instead, what I wanted to do is to do a little bit of a design review of the device itself, and then disassemble it and look on the inside and see what interesting things we can find there. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So yeah, the design, it's really simple, as I mentioned. It goes along the same form factor as the NES. While I was not around back in '89, my guess would be that this was in fact a quite futuristic look for a product back then. Because if we look at sci-fi movies such as Star Wars, then we would see the same type of blocky design, gray color, stripes, as we see on the spaceships in those movies. So this might have looked quite cutting edge at the time, I can't really say. But either way, let's go ahead and open it up and see what it looks like on the inside. Alright, so what we can see right away is that this is a typical sandwich type structure. So we have the two sides here, the top and bottom, that are connected with screws. And then in the middle we have the flat PCBs. And if we take a look at the components, we see that they have changed quite a lot since back in '89. Just by visually inspecting this board, we can see that the components are really huge. So yeah, for comparison, this is my hand, and if you opened up an iPhone or any modern product today, you would barely be able to see these guys, so they would be maybe 1/20th of the size. Either way, let's continue the assembling and see what we find. So we remove this screw here, and then the whole PCB comes off really easily. And as we are removing the PCB, we see that right behind the cartridge slot there is this metal plate, and I'm guessing that they put it there for several reasons. So the first reason, I'm guessing, is to squeeze the cartridge in a way that plastic could not squeeze it. So this would help with aligning the pins in the cartridge properly, and also make sure that it does not fall out. The second reason, I think, for this metal plate here is to protect the cartridge from the electromagnetic field that the CPU and the rest of the PCB would be generating. Because otherwise I don't see any reason for why the metal plate would go all the way up like it does right now. And then on the main board itself we have this huge block here which has a lot of connectors, and this would go into the cartridge and would read the data from there. And then of course the processing unit right here. Okay, so let's continue disassembling and go on to the second part. And we can take a look at this part here, and here we see basically the whole front of the casing detached. Yeah, here's the monochrome display used for 8-bit games. Very simple. Here on the PCB we have this circuitry, which these buttons, the flexible elastomer here, would close. So you would push the button and this black conductive piece would touch the circuitry, and that would signal that you had pushed the button. You have the little sheep speaker here, and then some more buttons right there. And then on the casing itself, again, classic injection mold style casing, so hard plastic. You have some adhesive here which held the screen in place and did not permit dust to enter. And overall, what a simple design, you know. PCBs in the middle, two shells on the sides, Everything clamped together with screws, minimal use of adhesives. This is really how I wish more products were made today, because oftentimes today, in the pursuit of trying to make things as thin as possible, as cool as possible, products become complicated and they become impossible to fix, impossible to disassemble, and also prone to failure. Of course, the design language of this product wouldn't fly today, probably, unless it was a retro product. But if you updated the design language but still kept this very simple structure, I think that products today would last longer and not need replacement every couple of years. Because as we all know, or if you don't know, I can tell you this, this product would last for decades. The guy that gave this Game Boy to me, he said that it was still functioning, today, so in 2020, and that is amazing, and that's not something that we see with many products that are produced today. So, to summarize a little bit, what a cool little product, what a simple one as well. We have to remember this was sold at around $60 US at the time, back in '89. So this was not high-end electronics, but they really used that cost well to create something really sweet that has really impacted the culture. So with that, thank you for watching, and I will be releasing more disassembly videos of products. I have some really cool ones coming up, and if you are interested in seeing those, then please do what is necessary to get notified.